we'll see what are all the important news came in the newspaper. So if you come and see in the first page, we see center moves interstate redistribution of Lok Sabha seats based on the 2011 census. So from the past like 6 months, 7 months, like discussions are going related to the delimitation. Yesterday in the current affairs, I have discussed with you what is the delimitation. See, the basic idea in the Indian Constitution, like one vote, one value. One vote, it is equal to one value. But if there is a difference in the value of the vote, because see, if you see the southern state, if one MP is representing 5 lakh people, in the northern states that one MP is representing like 11 lakh people. So in this way, the representation sometimes little uneven. So in order to address this problem, we have a thing called delimitation. See, under the article number 82, the parliament can carry out the delimitation, so that there will be the number of people represented will be even across the country, it will be same across the country. Okay, so but of late from the 1971, like in the 1971, then the government has freezed this delimitation because they wanted to control the population growth. But of late, what has happened is, see, when compared to the northern states, southern states are more successful in controlling the population. But northern states have the more population. So what is happening is, so the government is trying to increase the Lok Sabha seats so that the people and the people will be represented evenly across the country. But in this distribution of the seats, the northern states are overrepresented comparing to the southern state, and it is also implementing this limitation may also impact the voice of the southern states. That's why southern states are, particularly the southern states were ruled by the opposition, they were raising the question marks. So see, Telangana CM Ravant Kumar Reddy has said that like go for a hybrid one where the focus will be on the population and the GSDP. So and then Mamata Banerjee, like Mamata Banerjee is saying that, see, if you are reallocating the seats based on the population, it will lead to the division of the country. So here also few things are mentioned. So why on the 131st amendment bill, the parliament is going to pass this bill in the Lok Sabha. According to this bill, like the number of seats will be increased from 543 to 850 seats. And then one more thing, so we have recently the government has also passed the women reservation bill, providing the 33% reservation for the women in the parliament and the state assemblies. So in order to implement that also, so the government need to carry out the delimitation. See, the seats will be distributed, or seats will be spread across the states based on the 2011 census. And we need to observe this. So here they have given some data. In this data, what they are saying is, see, Hindi heartland, they are going to have a 76% of the increase in the number of seats allocated. So their share will increase to 43% from the earlier 38%. The Hindi heartland representation will increase from 38% to 43%. And then the south, the representation or the number of seats allocated to them will decrease from 24% to 20%. So that's why the southern states are opposing, or like they are asking we should have a consensus for the delimitation. And then coming to the other news, see, we know from the past 2 weeks we can see the rise in temperature. So the rise in temperature, and then the government is saying we have a heat wave condition across India. So what are the conditions to say that we have a heat wave? So particularly if there is a deviation, what when we call a normal heat wave, if there is deviation from the, like if there is increase in the normal temperature from 4.5 degrees to 6 degrees centigrade, then we call a normal heat wave. And severe heat wave is when there is a change in temperature is more than 6 degrees, then we call it as a severe heat wave. And then and deportation and the immigration policy. So before studying about deportation, we should know why government is implementing special intensive revision, and they're trying to implement the Citizenship Amendment Act and National Population Registry. And then why the government has brought the new deportation policy. See, if you are good in the like constitution, like we used to read like citizenship. See, the citizens of the country will be entitled certain right from the government. See, when the people from the other countries are illegally crossing the borders coming to India, then they cause the problem of the like they compete with the resources, and they compete in the wage market also. Since they came from other country, they are ready to work for a lower wage also. Sometimes they disturb the peace and stability of the region also. So in order to address all these problems, previously government has brought the Citizenship Amendment Act, National Population Registry, and currently the SIR is one way to identify the like real like citizens of the country, and then fencing of the border areas. So since particularly the immigration will be more across the borders, so under new deportation policy, the districts should be empowered. At the same time, the states need to set up a special task force so that they control the immigration. So this article you must go through, and then there is this one important article called as the cell therapy for frailty. See, we know what are the problems of the old people. See, when the process Satan is, they take their body becomes weak and they take more time to recover. See, in order to address this problem, like researchers have we have made any researchers, and the scientists are telling that cell therapy can be a new solution in order to address the problem of the frailty. So frailty means the fragile or weakness of the person arises because of the inflammation, means organ inflammation or the muscle loss and the vascular aging. Because of all these things, like we will be having the frailty. So the researchers are doing the research on a thing called as the mesenchymal stem cells. Mesenchymal stem cells are in the bone marrow and the fat tissue. So they made research on these things. They are saying that the cell therapy can be a solution to the issues faced by the old man, like old age people. But since it is a solution to the oldest problem, but they should be regulated, and the ICMR, Indian Council of Medical Research, also should play important role, because earlier in the name of that they are good at giving the stem cell therapy, many organizations or the institutes claimed, despite not having the enough credibility. We need to control this also. In order to control these things, like we need to have a ICMR should be very proactive. So, and this is also very important article which came in the news today. It says that the alarming rise of the medicalization in India. See, Air India recently kept some physical conditions that body mass index should be in a particular ratio. But see, if you observe the current scenario, 1 in every 4 people are facing the issue of the obesity. And 1 in every 4 person facing the issue of obesity, and 1 in 10 are having the diabetes problem. Okay, so 1 in 3 are having the hypertension also. So what he is saying is, recently in market we got one drug called semaglutide. So a drug came. The drug name is the semaglutide. It is a anti-obesity drug. So what he is saying is, see, in order to promote drugs, see how market is promoting the certain medicines in the market. So in the name of the surrogate advertisement. See, surrogate advertisements, we can use this in the ethics also. Means, see, what is surrogate advertisement? For example, if you were watching TV, like if you observe in the TV or between the in IPL matches, we get in advertisements. The advertisements of the McDowell's or the like Kingfisher. See, we know King McDowell's or the Kingfisher are the alcohol or the brewer companies, but they market the soda. So, but the underlying thing is in the behind the soda, they are marketing the alcohol. So that is called as the surrogate advertisement. So in the surrogate advertisements, they are promoting the drugs or the medicines for normal, instead of the lifestyle habits changing in the market, they are promoting the drugs. So by using influencers and all, they are promoting the drugs. That is, in this article, the person is trying to explain. See, in the name, how in the market, the medicines are promoted. So, see, in order to promote these drugs, they are using the marketing campaigns also. So in this article, they highlighted how the markets, how the use of medicines is promoted in the market. And then, so this article also we need to go through thoroughly. And then there is another article. See earlier we discussed about the heat wave in the India. Here, mapping the legislative vacuum in India's high heat crisis. See, India is a tropical country. Summers are very hot in India, and India is monsoon dependent country. Because of the global climate change, there is a general level in the rise in temperatures. So in order to like address the problem of the heat, she is saying that, see, the problem of the heat is not evenly spread across the population. See, if you are able to afford the money, then you can have the artificial cooling mechanisms. But that is not the case with everyone. There are 400 to 490 million informed workforce where they have to work in these heat conditions, and he is also, and she is also saying that the working in these heat conditions is violation of the right to life and right to work, and then it is like thermal injustice. See why, and she is saying that for the people who can afford, they can manage the heat. But what about the people, street vendors, or the what we call Swiggy, Zomato workers, or the what we call platform workers? They need to work in a elevated temperatures. See, if there is increase in temperature, the efficiency of work also decreases. So in this article, she is highlighting all those aspects, and she also saying that the Workers Act, and she also saying that the Workers Act. Factories Act. She also saying that the Factories Act 1948 protects only indoor labor and does not speak about the outdoor workforce. And she is also saying that we have the Occupational Safety and Health Working Conditions Code. We have a code called Occupational Safety. We have a code called Occupational Safety, Health and Working Conditions, OSH WC code. So under this code, under section 23, government to notify standards for the weather. But in the normal context, people are ignoring, or the companies are ignoring this aspect. So, and also 16th Financial Commission also proposal stating that the heat wave should be considered as a national disaster. So she is saying that a policy needs to be developed in order to address the heat waves. So this article also is very important. And then this is also, see, today we have all the articles which are very important, and one is dealing with what? One is dealing with heat waves, and one is dealing with the medicalization, means use of the drugs, like informal, like rampant use of the drugs, and other one is the food wastage. So what the columnist is trying to say? So the columnist is trying to say that the every year we are wasting the food worth of 1.5 lakh crores. 1.5 lakh crores, and he is also saying that the March 30th is declared as the day of zero waste. See, India, like in the wastage, comes in the second position. India wastes like 108 million tons. 108 million tons, India comes in the second, and this costs around like 1.5 lakh crores, whereas the US wastes around like 24.7 million tons, where Japan is the 5.2 million tons wastage. Okay, so when we make at the per capita level, see, India is wasting per capita waste of the food for Indians on average, like per capita is 55, whereas for the US it is 73. Okay. So in order to see why, and also UNDP is also saying that the food waste index is given by the UNEP, United Nations Environment Program. So how to address the problem of the food wastage in India? So he is trying to get the solutions. The first solution could be the protection of the building the cold storage where we can store the food, and then empower the farmer communities, and then we need to legislate against the waste, and we need to make legislation for promotion of the sharing, and then we should improve the first mile and the last mile connectivity. So if you are able to empower the farmers, and if you have a proper legislation also, we can reduce the food wastage. Why we need to reduce the food wastage? Because see, in India almost 1/3 of the poor people live in India, and we are wasting 108 million tons of the food at the same time, and we have so many of the PDS, public distribution systems. See, if the food is going waste, means it is 1.5 lakh crore it costs around. So that money could be invested in other activities or for promotion welfare of the people. That's why if you are able to control the food wastage, it will be able to boost the economy. And then here also, so recently what has happened is the recent movie, like Vijay's movie, it got pirated and it got released. Here they discussed about what are the mechanisms are there to deal with the piracy. For example, Copyrights Act 1957 deal with the piracy, and then section 63 of the Copyright Act. Section 63 of the Copyright Act. Section 63 of the Copyright Act fines up to 2 lakhs, and then we have the cinema of the pirated content also, and we have Cinematography Act. So if you are caught in any pirating the movies, then you will be fined up to 5% of the budget. So you need to know these provisions for dealing with the piracy. And here, and one more thing, see, recently if you are observing the newspaper from the past 6 or 7 days, we yesterday, 2-3 days before yesterday, you saw a man pouring 70 or 80 kgs of the ghee into the river ecosystem. So here in this article, they are trying to explore the believing the faith at the same time, and the ecology. See, in Indian context, rivers are given the human status. And one more thing, like the rivers like Ganga, Yamuna are considered as very holy rivers. So if they are considered holy, during the ritual times, people used to give offering to the river. Yeah, as the matter of the respect. But as a matter of the respect, when they are offering these things, they are thrown into the river. It is destroying the diversity, and it is destroying the ecosystem of the river. In this article, they are trying to and address the why we need to balance the faith and the ecology. And then here we need to understand the United Nations Development Program. It is saying that the West Asia war has so much. West Asia war is so big that it will push the 2.5 million people into the poverty in the context of, because instability in the Middle East, India and many other countries which are dependent Middle East, and many people who go there and work as the migrant laborers, and it will also impact the what we call fertilizer development, or the fertilizers to the Indian farmers. So they are saying that because West Asia war, 25 million people, maybe 25 people will be pushed into the poverty. So this is the news for today. For the more engaging content or for more current affairs related content, subscribe to Sarat Chandra IAS Academy.